bop, bop.
Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. You want an action Christmas movie, go on Amazon Prime and watch Red One. There you go. There's your action Christmas movie.
Do we need an action Christmas movie?
It was actually a lot of fun.
Someone made a good argument for Lethal Weapon being a Christmas movie.
What? Lethal Weapon?
Yeah. Braden on the HT Guys is who it was.
I thought Lethal Weapon was...
Didn't it take place around Christmas?
No, he just was going to retire.
I'm just telling you what I heard.
And it was in California.
Okay. What, they don't have Christmas in California? Do you hear that, you Californians? Just whatever you had planned for next week, cancel it. Sorry, you're in California. You know what's funny? On are you on Blue Sky? I know you are. You spend time there.
No, not really.
It's like the new Twitter. In the early days of Twitter, it was a lot of people just making quips and clever observations, and you go, oh, that's a really neat observation. Except for now, it's all happening again on Blue Sky, like this stuff hasn't already been done. So someone coming on there and going like, what was it? The Bruce Willis, you just said
Die Hard.
Yeah, so Die Hard is a great Christmas movie, and they say that as if it's like, oh, I'm going to make people laugh on this one. It's like, come on.
I found the best integration of Die Hard. So if you watch Love Actually...
You lost me already. I'm already out.
So there's a scene in Love Actually where Emma Thomas, her husband, is cheating on her, and it's played by the bad guy in Die Hard. So the woman's watching, and she's so mad at him in Love Actually that she pauses the movie to switch over to Die Hard when he falls to his death.
Okay, nice.
I thought it was pretty funny.
That is funny.
I mean,
yeah.
I sound kind of cold when I fall to his death.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, watch whatever the heck you want. We don't care, and that's not what we're here to talk about.
These sweaters do hurt, Mac.
We're here to talk about woodworking today, Nicole. Not
Are
this
we?
crap.
It's the end of the week. I can't believe we got here.
Yeah.
It's been rough.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks for us. We're not going to be doing a show next week, right? Or are we? It's right after
probably
Christmas.
Not.
Let's say tentative for next week, but I do want to let you guys know. Stick around if you're watching this. We're going to give five lucky winners are going to get a free Guild course and a month of Guild Plus. Guild Plus is going great. If you guys are interested in that, you don't have to always buy courses. You could just become a Guild Plus subscriber and get access to a free course each month as part.
I got my pen and my paper.
Yep. What's that
so
for?
I can organize who wins.
Okay. So we're at the end of the show. We're going to pick randomly from the chat. So if you want to participate in the giveaway, you don't have to chat right now.
No.
You can if you want to, but later
make sure
we'll
you join the YouTube chat if
Yeah.
you want to.
So we'll pick some
Right now we
randos.
got 142 people watching.
Well, hello.
You got a 1,
Good morning.
5, and 142 chance.
It's a really good chance. And then you sample that Guild Plus, you get a little taste of it, you're going to get hooked. I know it. Like a drug dealer. A woodworking content drug dealer.
Apo, Apina, of course, if you have questions.
Oh yeah,
Ask
we
this
should
question.
probably formalize what we're doing here. We're doing the morning show
The morning
today.
show.
And I'm Mark.
And I'm Nicole.
And if you have questions, use the live chat. Nicole will grab those questions. We also take some questions, pre-populating my little sheet here from Patreon. That's at patreon.com/woodwhisperer, as well as right here on YouTube. There's a whole member thing that you could do. It's like a few bucks. It's not much. And then you could ask questions each week, and we try to get those questions on the show.
Yeah, if you can't make it here live, not everybody can.
Watch it later.
Apo Apina is
Yes.
in the chat. Explain to a dumb European what's the deal with those Christmas sweaters. So
These in particular, or Christmas sweaters in general?
Because usually, I mean, I don't know if they're called jumpers in the UK, right? Jumpers.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I'm not in the UK.
Ugly Christmas sweaters is a thing in the States. And so I tried to find, we were supposed to go to a Christmas party, but I wasn't feeling well. So I decided, I'm like, well, we're going to get some mileage out of these. So this is from a movie, if you don't know, one of my favorite movies, Christmas Vacation.
You might be rubbing your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Just,
I am rubbing my mic.
Yeah, be
My
careful.
bad.
That's
My
what
bad.
you hang it on your necklace. It gets all wonky.
Yeah. So that's me.
So what
and
is
then,
the
and yours
what's
is,
the from the same movie? What is the origin of the ugly Christmas sweater? Maybe that's what he's asking. My guess is people like to knit and sew, and maybe there were like some people.
I remember were ugly Christmas sweaters in Bridget Jones's Diary where he's wearing a awful jumper. Again, sweaters are called jumpers in the UK.
Okay, but not everything's a movie, Nicole. Everything in Nicole's life has a analogous movie situation.
Reference.
What I'm talking about is in real life to knit Christmas sweaters, and just by their very nature, they become very colorful and ugly. And I think that's where it started.
Yeah, probably.
People just had these ugly Christmas sweaters that so-and-so made or bought for them.
Eppo said in general,
it just became something that...
He said, Mark wouldn't dress up as Buddy the Elf. You missed last year. He did.
Yeah, I also have Buddy the Elf pajamas.
That's what I mean.
But like, did I wear them on the show?
No, it was in our Christmas card.
Oh, right.
Hey,
gotcha.
and if you are part of Guild Plus, I'm sending out Christmas cards.
Oh, you're actually going to do that?
I have them. I'm going to fill them all out this weekend.
She wanted to put that in the list of features for Guild Plus as like a bullet point. And I was just, I don't know that that's really... I mean, it's fun, but I don't know that that's like a hardcore selling point.
It's a holiday card for... I don't know. Some people like to get a Christmas
I know. I'm just saying.
Card, New Year's Eve.
It doesn't deserve a bullet point, is what I'm asking.
Probably not, but it's a unexpected.
It's a little.
Oh, there's Mark and Nicole.
A little bonus, yeah.
And Lorna and Todd. So.
Okay, Fine Eye Woodworks wrote in. His name is Elijah Hairs. Overthinking this outdoor barbecue cart a bit more. I'm doing solid wood cedar floating panels for inset shaker style doors. I'm a bit worried about moisture getting in there when the panel floats. The doors are inset and the top of the cart has 1 inch or so lip, so it's not like water's going to be running down, but it happens if it happens to not get covered and the rain rolls through. How much of a potential issue will this cause? I feel like I'm committing a sin here, even asking, but have you ever caulked the groove instead of sorry, reading is total.
The sound is cutting out, they're saying again. Refresh your feed.
Last time people refreshed the feed and that seemed to help, but everything as far as the tech on our end, everything looks normal. So anyway, he's wondering if he should caulk the panels. He also is going to be using those little rubber space balls in there that you put into the groove, so it leaves a little bit of room. And he just wants to know, should I just use the spacers as I normally would and hope moisture doesn't cause problems? I feel like this is tricky. Solid panel door, I'm imagining a situation where you could caulk around the outside, but if that door expands and contracts, yeah, caulk is flexible, but at what point does it break? And if it breaks, then you've got another problem because you're partially sealing moisture in as well as blocking it from going in the first place. So it's a bit of a catch-22. When I've done things like this in the past, maybe on a larger scale door, I believe I did this on the Garden Gate back in Colorado, making sort of like weep holes or ventilation holes, because the idea wood can get wet certainly, and if you get some moisture trapped in that groove, wouldn't it be nice if that groove had a way for the moisture to get out and breathe, right? So I do get a little bit nervous. While caulking seems like the instinctive thing to do, unless that panel were made of plywood or something that's not going to expand and contract as much, I'd be a little bit nervous about actually caulking it on both the front and the back exterior just to kind of completely block the moisture out. So I'm more in favor of seeing if there's a way maybe at the bottom you could just put tiny little pinholes through the frame parts into that bottom groove, so any moisture that collects down there, even if it doesn't like completely drip through, maybe it can breathe a little bit. But I don't know, chat, what would you guys do in a situation like this? Let us know. Maybe you have a better idea for Elijah.
No idea.
You don't know what you would do in that case?
I don't know.
You would
I'm going to rely on you on
you
that
would
one.
buy it on Wayfair, and whatever happens, happens.
What will be, will be. Hey, liquid, yeah, my throat hurts.
You got a throat?
Liquid Rock Aquatics. If you were a woodchuck, oh, dang it.
Got you, Nicole.
Got me.
You got her. Good job.
Get out of here.
Oh, you
All
silly
right.
goose.
Tiki Nailer said, I saw your sweater in one of Mark's videos. I think you did it in a story, right? And immediately went out and bought it for myself.
You did. I think I got you in a story at one point.
The blessing.
No, it's great.
I actually have a real question from Paul. Thank you, Paul.
Fake questions are also allowed on this show.
Let's trick
I
Paul.
encourage it.
What is the best way to make long sweeping curve templates without a CNC?
Well, in the past, I would use strips of wood, ideally something like a strip of MDF, something that's consistent in its density and properties all the way across the strip. Now you can use thin pieces of wood to do this, but as you know, wood kind of changes. So one area might actually be a little bit more flexible than another. That's why I like to use things like plywood or MDF. You can get like a 1/4 inch material. If it's a really long sweeping curve, you might even go with something a little bit thicker. It just requires a little bit more force, but it holds its shape a little bit better. 1/4 inch I find works pretty well. And I've done this in a number of projects. The problem is it's in the course of the project, so over the course of the years, it's hard to remember which ones got this treatment. But you take that long strip, you could take your template material, throw that down, put a couple of nails in one end that kind of hold the ends of the strip, and then you're just going to pull the middle back towards you or push it away to get the curve that you want. And you could drop another nail in there if you need to hold it in that shape. And this way you can kind of get a nice, smooth, consistent, symmetrical curve, trace it out with a pencil, and then cut to the line. And then you can kind of shape it with rasps or sanding. That's the way I used to do it, and that works pretty well.
Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Can't see the line, can you, Russ? Nope. So, trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, for long curves, I mean, even if you get like a bow thing, I've got them right over here. I don't know if you could see them, but Lee Valley sells those drawing bows. They don't make them long enough if it's a super long sweeping curve. So that's what I would recommend. That's what I would do. Got a question from Greg?
Can I do my question?
Yeah, you just did.
It's about me.
You want another one?
Our Nepal says, your wife looks exactly like my colleague. Has she had, by any chance, Dutch heritage?
Nicole's a mutt.
I am a mutt.
She could have
But
anything.
I did the 23andMe. I had a lot of German, and Irish. But, yeah.
I did 23andMe, and I learned that I was part German Shepherd. And the way that they know that is most German Shepherds have this little spot in their neck right here. It's like a soft spot.
You realize how old, you know how old I am, right?
Here, feel right here.
This is an old joke.
Feel.
I'm not going to feel it.
If you guys want to do a fun joke with your kids, do that. They get scared and then they laugh their butts off. I did it to both of my kids. It's
so yeah, German tradition. And Irish for me.
The other thing is,
bones.
I would contend that his colleague looks like you, not the other way around, because you're the original. Greg Batt has a question.
Greg!
I just bought the Incra Miter Express to use on my SawStop PCS, looking for a recommendation on what side of the blade to put it on. Any pros and cons of either setup? I usually use my miter gauge on the left. Okay, I am bullish on this, and I disagree with Incra's instructions. I don't know about the Miter Express, but at least with the Miter, 5000, I think, they recommend installing it to the right of the blade. I disagree. I don't think that makes any sense. If you have a left tilt table saw, and if you have a SawStop, you do. Wait a minute, is it left? Yes, left tilt, sorry. I get confused on these things too. The reason we're looking at this is when you're looking at a miter sled, you're going to cut into that sled the first time you use it, and it gives you a nice zero clearance support. So as you're using the sled, if you think about what happens when you use the bevel function on the table saw, the blade is a left tilt, it's going to start tilting this way. So what's that going to do to your sled? It's going to cut into it, right? So the logic with Incra is they want you on the right side of the blade so that when you tilt to the left, you're not cutting into your base. You're actually going to move away from the base, and it should keep a nice zero clearance at the top. That's only one use that they're considering, and I think this comes down to the kind of cuts you make. Now, are you going to make a lot of bevel cuts? That's a big concern, because if not, the thing you're more likely to do with that sled at your table saw is use a dado stack. And on a left tilt saw, the dado stack builds to the right. So if your gauge and your sled is on the right side of the blade, and you start building your stack to the right, what's that going to do? It's going to cut into your sled base. So I cut way more dado cuts at my table saw than bevel cuts. So my sled is set up on the left side, so this way I'm not worried about the bevel, but if I do the dado stack, it's stacking out to the right and it's not cutting into my base. So I fully disagree with their instructions. I think they should change it because I said so. And I think if you do woodworking like I do, you're using that dado blade far more than you're doing bevel cuts. So that's what I have to say about that.
David D has a question.
David D.
How do you handle getting rid of scraps? Too small for most projects, but sometimes useful for simple things. I have 5 buckets of small scraps, and I'm looking for some motivation to throw them out.
Here's your motivation. Throw them out.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. You're holding on
Same
to
way
them for
with
no
the
reason.
bananas that you're going to make banana bread with. It's
Yeah.
okay. Throw them out.
Nicole has so many times told me banana bread is in my future, and I see those rotten bananas, but then they get too rotten because
And then I go,
she didn't make the banana
You
bread.
could have made the banana bread.
I'm busy.
So am I.
I'm busy writing jokes. Really bad jokes. So with scraps,
What about those scrap jewelry boxes?
well, but he's got 5 buckets of scrap. I mean, unless you're going to start selling those, I mean, that might be something to consider. Find a small project that can utilize them. Find local pen turners, people, especially turners in general. You could probably dump off a whole bunch of scraps with them. Call your local woodworking association, see if any of their members are interested in taking it. A lot of times people, they love scrap, like they love to accumulate it. So they are more than happy to take your scrap and make it their scrap. Other than that, if you can't find someone who wants it and you can't find a resource that will actually use it, if they're small enough, just burn them. It's okay to burn them. You do a little fire outside on a cold night, burn them up, put them in your smoker if you like to smoke stuff. Trying to think what else. Or throw them away. I don't have any problem throwing away scrap.
Richard is all right. Richard said banana bread is the lie of the procrastinator. You're not wrong.
Oh, I'm going to make banana bread with that. Sure you will. Just like,
Throw 'em away.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, I'm gonna
Everybody's
use
like,
those
put them in the
scraps.
freezer. Then I forget about them. I really forget about
You
them.
guys haven't seen our freezer either. It's a nightmare in there.
Yeah.
Frozen pancakes. I don't even know what. Just meat.
Yeah.
So much meat.
We need to go through our freezer.
Craig's got a good suggestion: wood toys. But again, you got to want to make them, or find someone else who will make them. If you got kids in your family, save at least a bucket of scraps for them to glue together and make a little project. Our kids would love that.
Tristan says, but what if I can use them? Then use them.
Then email each other, and you go pick up those 5 buckets. Simple.
Kizzy wants to know, anyone else deal with carpal tunnel? What helps? I've dealt with carpal tunnel or some sort of wrist injury twice. Once was in college. I was typing a lot. The other one was with our son when he was first born.
Oh crap! I forgot
Remember?
about that.
And I had to wear the wrist brace
From holding the baby.
when I was holding the baby.
Yeah. Okay. I have dealt with. Well, remember I had that cyst in my hand
Yeah, you had
that
the
one time, which we thought was a tendonitis.
Yeah, ganglia cyst.
Yeah, I forgot
I think
what the
Mateo
name was.
has one.
Really? Oh boy, wonderful. But I had that cyst in my hand that I had to have removed, but for the longest time I thought it was a form of carpal tunnel or tendonitis. The pain was really, really bad, so I had a wrist brace that I was wearing while woodworking. So that would be the first thing. Now, I don't know specifically
You can
about...
go to Walgreens, CVS, and get those little wrist braces.
I don't know specifically about carpal tunnel. This might be something to consult with, what do you call it? I know doctor, obviously, but like a physical therapist or somebody.
Well, people are saying surgery. She's like, I'm not doing surgery.
But I would imagine a brace is going to help here, right?
Yeah,
Getting a
I
little
know
bit
it
of
took
extra
the
support.
pressure. It took with Mateo. It wasn't like I could stop taking care of Mateo. So I had that wrist brace that helped kind of, I don't know, surround.
But yeah, I don't have personal experience with the concept of actually continuing to work while dealing with that. Mine was I was wearing the brace for the wrong thing at the time, so it was like kind of useless.
They were talking about when it flares up, anti-inflammatories, different things like that. So
a couple of Advil, you'll be fine.
Advil does wonders. The chat has given her a lot of.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't have the personal experience to give them.
Yep.
All right, I got one more question.
Well,
I'm done with my list.
Well, don't do that. Southpaw Dawn.
2 more.
I'm making a small cabinet with a tambour door using all hand tools. How do you make the groove curve?
Well, why are you doing that? Come on, Don. Just get your router and a template. That's a good question. How do you make a curved groove?
How did Philip do it?
Like a sane person with a router. How do you make a curved, this is a great question for Shannon. How do you make a curved groove and a track outside of just like drawing it and then chiseling it? Thinking in terms of, see, you could do things with like string inlay where you're making curves and you have something that's kind of pivoting on a pin. But the problem with that is that's for a regular consistent curve, a symmetrical curve. If you're doing some kind of timbre door, chances are you've got a straightaway, you've got a curved portion and another straightaway. That's a great question. That's a really good question. How do you do that? Chisel it? God, that would be awful. Borrow a router. I don't know. That's a good question.
But I mean, when people do hand tools, isn't the act of doing
the challenge
is the challenge?
Yeah,
right?
the challenge of it is part of the fun. Certainly,
Yeah.
I wonder if the way to do it might be to build a raised track using pieces that you might be able to bend to shape and house the timbre in that. But I still like the idea better of solving the challenge of how do you make a curved recess, a curved groove. Great question. Let's. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to find out what Shannon
Rick
would
M
do.
says, buy a $3,000 shaper Origin.
All right, now that's a serious power tool solution.
Yeah, with a CNC. Everybody's like, get a CNC.
Mr. Sharper 802 says, I have a Laguna 14-inch bandsaw, new blade, pretty sure the blade is tensioned appropriately. Guides look correct. I'm getting a very serrated cut with both a new 3/8 and 1/2-inch blade. It's very rough. It sounds like the blade is tearing the wood. I think 6 teeth PI, so that's teeth per inch. I get a much smoother cut on my Harvey 15-inch saw with a 3/4-inch blade. The saw's been through several saw moves, and I'm worried something has been knocked out of alignment. Otherwise, the saw works fine. So, bandsaw problems generally are going to come down to just a couple of things: calibration or the blade, right? So, usually, if I'm having some kind of trouble, I fully repeat that calibration process. With this size saw and this kind of blade, you could follow the Snodgrass method. We have a video on the website showing Alex specifically doing a tune-up on one of my saws, and the method he uses is great. So if you follow that, you check everything, make sure that there's no extra vibration where there shouldn't be, and then you are using new, good quality blades, it should be better. It's a matter of tracking that stuff down. So I wrote him back and said, look, unless I actually see the saw in action and I see the results of the cut, it becomes very difficult to kind of diagnose a problem like this and solve it. Is that bothering everyone?
No, it's my pen. For
Jeez.
later.
This is a season of giving, Nicole. What's wrong with you? So it's something that usually I need to see a little bit more and actually watch the blade. So it's a very involved process. When I'm tuning up a bandsaw, I want to see it in action. I want to look and see if there is a little bit too much wobble in the blade. Are the bearings where they need to be? So it's a very generic advice, but I would advise going through the calibration and setup process once again, and making sure that your blades are in good shape. There's no kinks or anything in the blade. And if you have to, try another new blade. But if they're two new blades, I'm sure it's not the blade, but at least repeat the calibration process.
Hey, guess who's in the chat? I haven't seen him in
You
forever.
are.
Alex Kilpatrick.
Oh, hey,
haven't
Alex.
seen Alex in a while.
What's going
Alex,
on?
wasn't I your Secret Santa one year?
Alex is looking dapper.
Pretty sure. I think I was. He said store 3 buckets inside and 2 outside. The rain will prevent storing too many scraps for too long.
There you go.
Hope you're doing well, Alex. It's good to see you.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you want me to do another question?
I got one more and then I could put my paper away.
Okay.
Peter, Central Texas, says, I just finished an assembly table with a top of regular MDF and VCore Mat MDF. What's that?
Huh?
Regular MDF and VCore Mat MDF. It's capitalized, so maybe it's a brand.
It's probably a brand, yeah.
I want to protect the regular MDF with some kind of finish. What, in your experience, is the best product to protect it? That's a good question, because I have 4 MDF top workbenches that are going to need a little bit of protection, and I'm wondering that same question myself. Typically in the past, I would use some kind of an oil varnish, kind of like Armor Seal or Waterlocks. The MDF does a good job of absorbing that. What I did find, if I remember correctly, the last time I did this, it can be a little bit splotchy because if you are not applying it fast enough, the areas that absorb it at different times seem to, whether they absorb it at different rates, I don't know, it kind of gets a little bit splotchy, but the thing is, I think it kind of looks cool. MDF is just not it doesn't have a whole lot going for it as a product. So if you could do something and you make it look almost like leathery, it kind of looks like dyed leather to me. So Oil-based products are perfectly fine on MDF. It's going to give you a little bit of extra protection, absorb into those fibers. It's going to make it nice and slick and smooth, and also resistant to glues and stuff binding to it. So that's what I would recommend. There's other products, of course, that you could use. I probably wouldn't use like a water-based finish on it, though. I mean, as long as you're applying it thin and you're not drenching it, it's not a problem. I'd go with an oil-based finish.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool story.
That's all I got.
Benjamin wants to know, best way to sand and finish a cooking utensil that will stay smooth and prevent grain raising.
Buy a silicone one. It's wood.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot you can do with it that's going to stop that from happening. You could treat it with a little bit of tung oil or walnut oil, usually walnut oil these days, or a wax, or nothing at all, which is where I've been experimenting. It's going to raise the grain. It's going to start to look worn, and it is a utensil that's meant to be used. So anything you put that can, in a more absolute fashion, stop that stuff from happening is probably stuff you don't want in hot liquid food. It's just not something I would want to eat, so I wouldn't recommend that.
Did you see the study that came out about the black utensils?
No.
About the microplastics and all that? I don't know, just more fear.
Bottom line is, if it's plastic or rubber, there's gonna be risks associated with it. To what degree they're actually like serious risks, everybody's got to make that choice for themselves. But my suggestion would be, get that utensil, sand it up, give it a decent coat of a food-safe oil. Again, walnut oil is the one that I've been using.
What if you have a nut allergy? Can you use walnut?
I'm not a doctor, and we don't have a lawyer right now.
Never mind. Just move along. What about Bumbleshoots?
Bumbleshoots is a great product. It does have tung oil.
And we also have walrus oil.
Walrus oil makes some good products too. That recent article in Fine Woodworking was talking about the merits of using nothing at all for the most food-safe experience, but it is not going to give you the best looking
It looks ugly.
stuff.
It's in the kitchen. I'm going, God, that looks ugly.
That's the thing. It's a visual problem. Yeah. So anyway, same thing goes with the utensils.
Hey, what's the shirt you have on underneath that? Is that the one I got you and Mateo?
Yeah. Hold on. Hopefully my microphone doesn't get too wonky here.
Riz the season.
Anybody with young kids?
There you go.
Teenagers, you can show them that.
Make them cringe.
Yeah, it's cringeworthy for sure.
Mike wants to know, what would you be doing if you weren't woodworking?
Enjoying myself, most likely.
Stop it. No, you'd be doing science.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't get into woodworking, I would probably would have stayed in my first career, which was in biotech. And I probably, let's see, so the last job I had...
You were going for your master's in business.
Yeah, I would probably be stuck in middle management and miserable.
Yeah.
Because the problem was...
He was always going into the shop, and that's actually what I was like, you're doing the wrong job.
Yeah, I didn't get my PhD. And in the world of science, if you just have a bachelor's degree, it's pretty limiting how far you can go with that. I missed my opportunity to go to grad school because I'm an idiot, and I just wound up getting a job somewhere, got into management almost immediately. Got a job almost immediately as the company was growing fast, so they quickly pushed me into a management position. And then my only viable thing that I thought was within reach was an MBA to lean into the business side of things, which would have taken me further into the path I didn't really want to go because I loved science, I loved experiments, I loved actually doing some R&D, and it was just really difficult to get a job there.
Which is why I think you like doing these kind of side-by-side experiments.
I do.
Even in the shop.
Yep, it's my little, my science light experiments.
Yeah.
But then I wound up working at an antibody company, which wasn't my specialty, but I was doing tech service for that company just because it paid well. And
it was closer to our house.
Very close, and I was not super happy.
We were in Southern California at the time, and we had moved to Temecula, which is an hour and a half from San Diego, where your other job was.
So I'm sure I still would be woodworking. And I don't know, it would have been interesting if I kept my job and kept woodworking, and then the world of content creation developed around that. Would I have still been attracted to it? And maybe, a lot of you people will make videos and you have a regular job, and I would just do it as a side thing for fun. who knows?
Jason says,
oh, he's here?
He says,
Get this guy out.
I feel seen. He's not talking about, he's talking about him, not you. And guess
Get
who
that
else?
troublemaker out of here.
Darth Marquise is in the chat too. I thought you'd
yeah,
say
I
you'd be
haven't
drumming.
seen-
I haven't seen Darth in a while.
I might be drumming, but it would be just as successful as I was when I did it in college, which is like very sad gigs.
When I met him, he was a drummer in a couple of different bands in San Diego. And my favorite one was that one where he had the song Red Shoes.
Oh, yeah.
I love
He
that.
a really good singer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they were all just like, hey, let's practice. And
Yeah.
then we just would
and it was,
practice.
and there was another
we never
cover,
did a show.
and there was a cover band.
I did a cover band.
And you
for a
were
while.
like, eh.
Yeah, that was with a lady singer.
Yeah, you didn't really enjoy that. But you did enjoy.
No, they were playing stuff that was
Kern.
like.
It was called Kern Country. Kern, Kirn.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's,
But for money, I would have been leaning on my, what I went to school for.
yeah. Let's see, we got some more questions. What's your favorite handsaw for rib cuts? Or do you always prefer a circular saw?
I don't prefer a circular saw for rib cuts generally.
Do you ever use a circular saw?
Well, he could be referring to a track saw. It's a
Oh.
variation of
Yeah,
a circular
yeah.
saw.
Okay.
But typically rips are going to be done, at the table saw or even at the band saw. I have some hand saws, and I do have some with a rip configuration. I've got Lee Nielsen behind me. Blue Spruce sent me a couple of theirs to take a look at. Usually my hand saws are for joinery only. And there is a cause to use, a rip saw in joinery, but I don't typically need to because I'm usually doing, much finer, smaller joints if I'm doing something by hand. Aww. I very rarely do like a mortise and tenon by hand, so it's not something I would use all that often. But for me, it's all, those grunt work cuts. That's why we invented power tools. That's why I still focus. Even though I have a book called Hybrid Woodworking that talks about using hand tools and power tools, but the point is to use the hand tools for the fun stuff and let the machines be our apprentices and do the grunt work that's not that fun. So that's the reason why I do it that way.
Kizzy said, best chat ever. They got me thinking, and I'm starting to drink Sprite where normally I'd stay away from soda. Maybe there was a...
Got me thinking, and I just started drinking Sprite. What are we talking about?
I don't know. I think the inflammation.
What did we miss in the chat?
We're talking. Yeah, I missed something.
Well, you want to get down the path of inflammation. There's a whole bunch of stuff to learn about inflammatory foods and oils, especially
Oils.
that you cook with.
Even omega. I was taking an omega 369, and I did not realize it was the 6 that was causing my joint pain.
Yeah, so I mean, between Nicole and my son, we are going through lots of neurological inflammation things, and we're learning a lot about that sort of thing and how diet impacts that. And unfortunately, out of all of us, you and Mateo are the two most difficult when it comes to diet.
The worst.
So that's unfortunate.
We're trying hard.
Yeah.
And Alex did say, I made a blanket for him for that Secret Santa, and it was our sweet cat's favorite. She since passed, but we'll keep that blanket forever.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, not that the cat passed. Sorry about that.
The blanket.
The blanket
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Verlin in the chat. Oh, he just said, as a physician, I definitely see a doctor about carpal tunnel.
See? Yeah. I gave the right advice.
Go see a doctor.
I gave the advice. Don't ask me. I'm an idiot. Just tie some rubber bands around your wrist. And a strip of copper. How's that?
Al is in the chat. I joined the guild and currently making your shaker table.
Oh, sweet.
I use an MFT as my workbench, and I would like to add a wood vise. What would you recommend?
Oh, what can you add to the MFT? So the MFT is Festool's multifunction table, the one with all the holes in it, and it's like a folding card table. I know they sell their surface clamps that you can use. Do they have a clamp that you can add to the outside track? I don't know, man. That's a good question. Anybody know for MFT accessories, or maybe saw someone add aftermarket stuff to the MFT to act as a more traditional workbench? Oh, I don't know. I'm striking out today. There's a lot of questions I don't know the answers to.
That's okay. Jesus. Oh, would a mini router plane work? I think that
I said that.
About the tambour.
I used to say that back when I was a Greek god. Sometimes I would go, "Hey Zeus."
Hey Zeus.
Back in my Greek god days.
Good to know.
I just came up with that on the fly.
That was a pretty good joke. Should I tell my Santa joke? Mateo and I.
Oh, the ones you guys made
up. When Mateo's having a hard day, I find if I get him to focus on something silly, so like tell me some jokes. So we were coming up with different jokes, and so my joke was, "What's Santa's favorite snack cake?"
Oh.
Ho-hos.
Ho-hos, yeah, that's right. You don't want to tell the one about Santa in the shower?
No, I'm not going to tell that one.
Let's just say my son definitely got my sense of humor.
He laughed so hard. That was my joke, by the way. And I told
you
him
also got my sense of humor.
That's why I like you.
What else?
I hear Oreo meowing.
He's going to have to wait.
Ice.
Woodworks.
Okay. Looking into buying 2 hand planes, a block and a jack plane. I'm leaning into the 5.5 jack for any reason. Should I go with the number 62 low angle?
It's personal preference. I mean, look at some of the people who use these different things and see if one or the other type of plane appeals to you. I believe it was last week that someone asked a question about why I prefer low angle planes. All of them are low angle, at least the ones that can be. So reference that last week for a longer explanation, but it just comes down to me personally liking the versatility of a low angle jack and the fact that you could use different irons with blades honed and ground at different angles to get a different result when you plane wood. That's my personal preference, but you'll find a lot more classic woodworkers, Matt Cremona, Shannon, those guys prefer more traditional planes. They like the heavier body of the plane, and they're also very good at using the plane in a way that you can kind of tame any tear out that you might see otherwise. But for me personally, I just like the low angle stuff.
Oreo was cold outside, and I heard him, and he's like,
cold, big boy.
Look, I got him a new collar, and he's like a present.
Mm-hmm. He's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yep.
But, woo! You okay?
Yeah, it went forward.
Oops. But there is nothing wrong with the 5.5. Just look into the blades and the versatility and see if one appeals more to you than another.
Tristan, I'm at work and found a piece of Shedua.
Mozambique?
Yeah. That's 14 inches wide and 2 inches thick and 8 feet long. It is curly across the whole length and width. Should I buy it? I don't know. How much is it?
Even if you told me how much it is, I couldn't tell you whether to buy it or not.
Have you ever messed with that wood before?
I've used a Shedua once, one of those projects for Ed. Back in the day.
What was it for? Was it for like?
I think it was.
Was it one of the boxes?
He made me build those art stands.
Yeah.
Those art pedestals, if I remember correctly.
If you're in Patreon, I posted a lot of those old projects that Mark used to build for one of our best clients.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, if we're talking about lumber and it's a decent price, whenever you ask me, should I buy it, the answer is going to be yes. Why would you not buy it? Do you want that piece of wood? You're going to build something with it? Shedua is pretty cool. It's not a common wood that you see a lot. So yeah, sure, buy it. If you got the budget and it's not going to cause you to not be able to afford your rent or something like that, then
don't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, buy the wood. When in doubt,
buy the wood. Les did a super chat. Thank you, Les. He wants you to be able to get your own pen.
I should be able to, Les. You would think that at this point in my career, I would have my own supply of pens.
I see pens right there.
That would be a pencil, my dear.
Wow.
It's not the same thing. It's graphite and not ink.
Okay.
Thank you, Les. Now
you.
I can go to Walmart and get myself. I might even splurge and get a 5-pack.
Why don't you just go to Rockler and make yourself a pen? You got a lathe.
Girl. You know, years ago, I bought myself a whole bunch of like bottle stopper kits and pen kits, the little
you were going to make
mandrel
them for
hooch.
the neighbors.
I don't know what I was going to do, but I was going to make them. I had the best of intentions, and they are now in a bag sitting in the loft, and I won't touch them. It's very unlikely I will ever do anything with them. So I should probably give that stuff to somebody.
Or we could make stuff.
Or I should just give it to somebody. I've got workbenches to make. I got 3 classes in the new year.
How many of these workbenches are done yet? Are they all done? 0.
These many.
So we have 6 people coming in?
5.
5? I thought it was 6.
No, 5.
Okay.
If that's the case, then I need to do another one.
Oh, yeah.
5.
I feel like we have 6.
So 5.
Okay,
I have 4 new workbenches.
I'll double check that number.
Because I have my hybrid workbench in there is going to be workbench number 5.
Yeah.
I'm batching them out, so each one I'm taking video of the whole thing, but I'm doing them all at the same time. So I'll do the little video thing, and then I got 3 more to do after that. So it is taking me a long time, and my goal is to finish these workbenches as much as possible by the end of today, so that I can actually take some time off next week.
Jack Dalby's in the chat.
Jack!
And, brings up a good point. Where's your glasses?
I right here. See, here's the thing. I have a very light prescription.
He did have LASIK when he was 21.
I had LASIK, but now I have old manitis, which is affecting my eyeballs, and I'm not going to get LASIK again. So sometimes I forget to take them off. I could read, I could drive. I don't technically need my glasses all the time, but I like to have as perfect vision as possible when I'm in the shop, so I tend to wear them a lot, and then they stay on.
Oh, Alex said, pss, 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 pss.
Hey, Oreo. Pss, pss, pss. No, don't do that, because then he's going to come over here, step on the keyboard.
Mike let us know that the VCore Mat is a denser MDF made with full color particulate and glue, usually black.
Oh, no kidding. Well, that's nifty stuff.
That sounds cool.
But it really, denser MDF, do we
see what you did, Alex?
No, that was you.
No, I just was repeating what Alex said.
Okay, but that's pretty cool. I just think MDF is so damn heavy to begin with. Making it even denser, I mean, I'm sure there's cool applications for that, but oh boy.
He loves me.
So I've got, my tops are a triple layer 1-inch MDF, but it's a super light MDF, which it makes them a little bit more manageable. But with my back history, I have Nicole come in and when I need to move these things around just to save myself any potential injury trouble. Problem is, I mean, my back is still sore like all the time, but there are times when I'm in real bad shape. And at least now I can get to the gym, I can cycle, exercise is not a problem, working is not a problem, and I don't want it to become a problem.
Oreo's purring. I don't
What's
know
up,
if
you
you can
stud?
hear him from my microphone. Strato Macaster, could you eventually do a video on the process of matching an unknown stain? I want to match some cabinets, but I have no clue as to how to match the existing stain. So
that sounds terrible. I get the need for the video. Like this, matching stain is a bit of an art form. The brute force way that I've done this in the past, if it's like a non-critical thing, is off the shelf. And in the past, I used to have a nice variety of stains, even just Minwax brand stains in my collection. So I could either combine some of those stains or get pretty darn close right off the shelf. Because most products that companies are using, oftentimes they're off the shelf or close to an off-the-shelf analog. So you could usually find them. The problem is you have to buy these cans of stain to do those experiments and figure out, with your test boards. When I worked at a refinishing shop, we had a whole series of coloring agents that we would use, and we would go through the process of trying to color match manually. That was very cool. It was a lot of fun, but it was difficult, and it's something that experience counts for a lot. So that's why I say it's a bit of an art form, because sometimes you go, okay, this is close, it's very close, but it's a little bit red. So what are we gonna do? Well, then you have to start looking at your color chart and realizing that this red finish, to get it more brown, you're not actually gonna add some brown, you might add a little bit of a green tint to cancel out the red, right? So things can get really, really messy in a hurry. It's just something that I don't even have the materials on hand to teach anymore, and I'm so out of practice. This would be a fun thing to do if you find someone who is like a finish restoration expert or someone who actually does this routinely. Yeah, like what he used to do. That type of thing, to actually go to the source and find that info. It'd be hard for me to do it at this point, though.
Don't bite me. Don't bite me.
No, bite.
Mark, has Bamboo Labs sent you a printer yet? It seems the woodworkers I follow on YouTube seem to have gotten. No, they have not.
We're not one of the cool kids in that crowd.
I don't know why, because I would gladly take a bamboo printer. I would love to take a bamboo printer.
Yeah, the state of things with products.
All I have are Prusa's.
Oh, poor Nicole.
I know.
The state of things with products right now and
Weird.
influencers getting free products is so crazy.
Yeah.
You're probably going to see a lot of Giraffe tools now, the ones that make that wall-mounted vacuum. They approached me and were like, hey, we want to give this to you for a 10% commission. I said, that sounds like you're getting free promotion to me. So no, can't do that.
Yeah, and you don't need it.
Certainly don't need it. But man, just the way people just want free stuff. And I guess I can't blame them. They're building their business. They're doing what they can do.
Look, we take free stuff.
We do. But it really skews the impression of the companies that are worth investing in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And it's just natural. You guys watch a lot of people, and they all keep mentioning this one brand. You assume that that's the brand you should probably buy. Well, guess what? The advertising works.
Mm-hmm. But I will say, with Bamboo, if I were to get a new printer, I would get a Bamboo right now.
Influencer marketing is working.
No, I want. Get out of here.
Well, why? Why?
Because they have that multi-filament, and it looks like a really good printer.
Yeah, but how do you know? How do you know it works well?
Well, I knew it before influencers got it.
Oh, you're a 3D printing hipster.
I am.
Okay. But it does muddy the water, doesn't it? It makes it really challenging. And I say this as being part of the problem, but also someone who's not happy about it.
Matrix agrees. At least the Bamboo stuff is good, and others can't probably.
That's the thing. You don't know, though, right? Like, it's hard to know which ones are the BS products that are just getting love because they're sending out free stuff versus the ones that are actually high-quality products who are just doing a big marketing push.
Woodworks Kentucky says, thank you for being just a down-to-earth person that truly wants to help us no matter what level we're at. You're a genuine person.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate that.
We really, really appreciate that. So, got another question from Berlin. I have a Craig track saw.
Oh, okay.
And I have difficulty getting track to stick to wood and not slip. Watched videos with Festool, doesn't seem to have any problems. Any suggestion other than buy Festool?
I rarely use mine with a clamp, though I can. And if it's in a situation where there's a good chance I might knock the track in one way or the other, the weight of the track and the grippiness of the strips on the bottom is usually enough to hold it in place. So I would suggest if it is moving, clamp it. You know, there's always a way that you can get the thing elevated enough to get a clamp under there. Use clamps with it. You might even be able to buy, so I know they sell replacement splinter guards for the Festool tracks. Do they also sell the replacement grippy stuff on the bottom? Because if they do, then maybe it's as simple as that, is buying the same sort of grippy schmutz that's on the bottom and replacing it instead of buying a whole new track. That might be the way that I would go.
Can you do, don't they have a double-sided tape that you could probably put down?
I wouldn't want to do that.
No.
Yeah, you could, but then you have to pull it up, and a lot of times you're making multiple cuts.
Yeah.
So doing that for each cut, I would much rather see you use a clamp if you don't have any other resource at your disposal. But I would be looking at replacement strips for the grippy stuff and see if there's any way you could use Festool's version of that and see if that helps at all. You might also take the underside of your track, and sometimes it just gets dusty. And the dustier it gets, the less it grips. So you may be able to just hit that with, I don't know, I'm trying to think, what would you want to use? Maybe denatured alcohol? Something that's going to flash away pretty quickly, wipe away any oil and grease or dust off the surface, and then you might find that it grips a little bit better. Give that a shot. Also make sure that the thing you're cutting isn't loaded with fine dust. So like when I cut MDF, after I make that first cut, there's just a lot of MDF dust going all over the place. So when I move my track and set it back down, I'm putting it right on top of very fine dust. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to just quickly vacuum up the surface a little bit and give that track the best chances of gripping. But chat, if you guys have any suggestions for this, let us know.
They're giving some suggestions. Jesus wants to know, do you know the difference between RMP COs half and half versus Bumbleshoots all natural? I believe they are both tung oil citrus solvent, but from their instructions, it seems the latter cures quicker.
I don't think it cures any quicker. I think a lot of times these Finnish companies are just doing their best to give generic instructions, and I think both of them contain tung oil and citrus solvent, and they both should be treated about the same way. Bumbleshoots, if I'm not mistaken, has one other component in it that I believe adds, just maybe theoretically, is adding a little bit more durability. I can't remember the specifics on their products, but ultimately, in the end, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to act the same way. It's probably going to cure in the same amount of time. I don't think you would want to treat them differently.
He is just chilling out.
He's just hanging, doing the show, doing his part.
Doing your part, buddy.
Look at her face. I've done my part.
Let's see. Mike wants to know, what finish would you recommend for wood, cups, mugs, so they can be used? Didn't we talk about this last time? Last show.
I don't know if
it was shot glass.
It might have been 2 shows ago.
Yeah.
I'll just repeat what I have said in the past. I generally don't like the idea of drinking out of a wooden mug that makes contact with finish. I would be much more in favor of having something where you could do an insert, right? So it's easy to clean. It's not going to harbor bacteria, and you're not having finish and oils imparting flavors into drinks. And we talked about the shot glass specifically, but we mentioned that, like, in the case of a shot glass, it's not staying in there very long.
True, but a mug, beer, whiskey.
What if they're using it for hot stuff? That's even worse.
Yeah.
So I have a cop-out answer to this because I don't like the concept of putting liquid in a wood vessel for drinking. I don't think there's a great solution. You're either leaving it to contact raw wood and hoping that over time it kind of develops a bit of a patina that doesn't absorb the liquid as much, or you're putting an oil or some kind of a plastic type finish on there, and I don't think either of those are a great solution either. Once again, chat room, rescue me. What would you do?
What would you do?
My opinion is coloring the answer, because there are solutions. I just don't like any of them.
Yeah. What are you doing? Wait, where are we going? All right. You want to go to him? Our Dapple says, are there any wood species you will never work with? Oh, you never worked with but would. Sorry, I totally changed his question.
Oh, he farted. Son of a gun. Are there any wood species you've never worked with but would? Oh, yeah. I mean, we just talked about Shedua. There are so many wood species that most of us have never heard of. And sometimes
my Shedua.
My Shedua wouldn't allow it. That's relevant. That's from the Grinch, isn't it?
I know, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot. Can I name them off the top of my head? No, but when you go into like a lumber dealer that has a nice showroom of, exotic species and stuff, sometimes I go in there and I'm like, oh, I never heard of that one. They might get a special shipment of something. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff that I would love to, but just don't have a call for. Or like, who was it that asked? Tristan maybe asked about, there's this beautiful board here. Should I buy it? Well, if I don't have the expendable income to just go pick up random wood and hold it for a couple of years, I won't buy it usually, but plenty of stuff out there that I haven't worked with.
You are not alone. Brandon also says not a fan of using wood for a drinking container either. So. Yeah,
I don't want to criticize it. If somebody wants to do it, all the power to you, but I just don't want to give advice on it when I don't think it's a great idea.
I mean, would it harbor bacteria from
the
liquid?
The whole point,
because you're putting your mouth on it.
Yeah, the whole point though is raw wood, and this goes back to what we're doing with the cutting board. In and of itself has antibacterial properties by allowing the liquid to dissipate, evaporate, and then the wood dries, and it can suck that bacteria in. But then it basically, like a desiccant, it starves it of moisture, and the bacteria will die. That's what makes them sort of antibacterial naturally. So, if you put a finish on there, well, now you're sort of impeding that process a little bit. So again, it gets sticky, a little bit sticky.
Well, and then Chris says wooden cups are all the rage for drinking whiskey because they have whiskey in barrels for years. So. Yeah,
and they're usually. The inside of the barrels are usually hit with flame that's what imparts a lot of the flavor, right? So that certainly could be one of those choices. You could maybe torch the interior of it and use white oak to do it. That might be something to look into. Yeah. But that's...
I grew up, about an hour from here, there's a stave mill, and they have a ton of, that's where they make whiskey barrels.
Yeah, so I would I mean, that's like that, what is it, the Shoshuji band technique, where you torch it, but white oak is going to be the one you're going to want to use for that, not red oak. But that would be interesting. And it might be quaint, right? Yeah. It might add just a little extra zing at the end of the process there.
Burnt.
That smells charred. That's my favorite.
Got a nice super chat from Gary Zumwald. He said, thanks for being a realistic woodworking podcaster.
Hey, I try to.
I appreciate it.
I don't always feel realistic.
No.
I live in a bit of a privileged position here when it comes to like the stuff I have access to.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy what I do. I love tools. I love to get my hands on this stuff. So it's hard when you are trying to keep a little bit of a realistic persona, but then you have a Felder planer that is way more than I need. Yeah. But at least I'm realistic about it and tell you that I don't really need it. Neither do you.
Cody,
but I want it.
Cody wants to know, do you still sell lumber? If not, where's the best place in the area to go?
I really don't anymore.
We really don't.
We tried it.
He's like, this is mine.
No, it's not so much that. It's that when you sell lumber, in order to make it profitable, you got to sell a lot of lumber. And we aren't going to have the throughput to be able to do that. So around here, St. Charles Hardwoods is a good option. YouPick Hardwoods is another good option. Who are some of the other ones? I've only been to St. Charles Hardwoods.
We met one, he's from Arnold, Missouri, and I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Oh, Scott Wonder.
Scott Wonder even listed a whole bunch of different lumber places.
We have quite a few. Yeah. I just haven't been around to all of them.
So yeah, Cody, if those don't...
They are not going to be perfect. They're meant to be small, and they're meant to service the needs of a 5-day class. It's not your forever workbench. 3-day class. 3-day class. So I don't know how well they're going to resist all the things we're going to do to them. We're going to find out. Will it work? Yeah, it's just fine. Lots of people have very lightweight workbenches and they figure it out and make it work.
Are you making a video about them?
Oh. I don't know for sure if it's going to need additional supplemental weight or how it's all going to work out, but I also know we're not teaching full-on hand tool classes. So the amount of like planing and heavy duty stuff that you would normally do to a classic workbench, probably those things aren't going to happen. We're doing, power tool usage. Yes, the overhang is a lever, but you probably shouldn't be doing dips on it. There's no reason to lean on the overhang. I have massive overhangs on my Rubo, but obviously there's a lot more weight in the base, especially with my toolbox on there that keeps it from moving around. But if I put my full weight on the end of my Rubo, even as it is right now, it will probably still lift up one side.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Don't do it.
But as for like regular usage, it's going to be totally fine for its purpose. Would I recommend building that bench as your forever bench? I don't think so. I mean, if you want to, it'll be fine, but it will have compromises.
All right, I got 2 more questions locked and loaded.
And then we'll do our giveaway?
I think we should do our giveaway before I do the questions.
Yeah, because the chat will become useless.
The chat will become useless. So Kizzy said an hour goes by fast. It really does. Oreo's very upset that we have Ava's
little projects are on top of his blankets, and he's like, where am I supposed to lay down? How about the couch, you nerd? All right.
He's just walking over the miter station. Well, okay. Such a weirdo. All right, so what do you want to say? If you would like to be...
Jingle bells is the key word.
All right, jingle bells.
Say jingle bells in the chat to get in the running for
we're gonna pick 5 of you for a free guild course and a month of Guild Plus.
Yeah.
Yep.
5 lucky wieners.
Alex did another super chat.
Alex, he's in a generous gift-giving mood.
He is. For Mark to go buy Nicole a hot buttered rum, is it alcohol? I can't have.
It's a cocktail.
I can't have alcohol on my medicine. I'm sorry.
Way to bring the mood down, Nicole.
But I will take a hot
cocoa. I can't drink alcohol. I'm not well.
I'm I'm so fragile. I do feel fragile.
I'll go buy her a coffee. How about that?
Yeah. So thank you, Alex. You're
all right. So jingle bells is the key word. Let's get to the last 2 questions.
The last 2 questions. Richard wants to know what I've been lasering. I've been lasering
plastic. Christmas, and I keep yelling at her.
Christmas ornaments. I use a really awesome software called Cuttle XYZ, CUTTLE.XYZ. I pay for their pro level because I just love how easy it is to put it in, and it just does the thing, and then I download it and I print it, or I laser it. So that's what I'm doing right now. They have a really great name snowflake Christmas ornament that I've been making everybody this year. Last year it was the name Christmas tree. So highly recommend it if you're looking for some fun laser projects, custom laser projects. And then Jack wants to know, I have an old Schosberg Schoberg's bench with a strange construction.
Huh.
The top has 3 boards oriented flat grain up, and the edge is dovetail border with edge grain up. Gap City. Should I rebuild it?
Yes.
Really? That just seems, you bought that. You
Well,
paid money
You could
for it.
repurpose the base and just build a new top.
Yeah.
I mean, if the base is solid and it's doing everything you need it to do, that top sounds miserable.
Yeah.
Flat grain oriented boards like that, it'll get the job done, but you have much more potential for movement, and it will go out of flat, I would imagine, fairly regularly. I would like to see what he's talking about to visualize it, because it sounds really interesting, but it would not be my preferred way to build a bench. The caveat here is if it's working for him and he's using it, then no, don't build a new top. But if it's causing you problems, they're likely to continue causing you problems. So sure, go ahead and build a proper, edge grain style top. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to do that.
All right, we got a lot of jingle bells.
Yeah, we do.
Or jingle.
I'm not even going to tell you to stop. Just pick. So
No.
we're going to pick 5.
I'm going to the very top.
Okay.
And then as I get to the top, then I'll go down and I'll just, as I go down the list.
Just rando pick.
Rando pick.
Yeah. There's not enough time to even look at the name. You just look for someone
Yeah.
and then.
You tell me, it was after Alex's super chat.
Okay.
All right.
Stop.
All right. So we have Laird Jenkins.
Not touching that one. Jenkins?
Jenkins. There you go.
Leroy Jenkins.
All of these, when I pull you up, you're going to email me, Nicole@thewoodwhisperer.com, and I'm going to get you set up. All right, go ahead.
Stop. Kizzy.
Kizzy. Jingle bells, Kizzy. All right, try again.
Stop.
Michael Werner.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
And stop. Don't pick Jason, whatever you do.
BJ Elliott.
BJ Elliott. Okay. Oh, I saw Jason.
No, too bad.
Pick him.
Danny Wealth.
Not giving Jason anything for free. That guy.
Let's pick another one.
Oh,
We got a lot.
You're giving away my imaginary digital goods.
Come on.
Okay, stop.
We got Joe
Ferrone.
Ferrone.
What's up, Joe? Okay. Good?
Is that good? Because I still got a whole bunch more.
Oh my God. All right, go ahead. Pick more.
All right.
We're crazy.
Jerry
Sarkozy.
Sarkozy.
Okay.
All right.
Are you done?
Yeah, we're done.
You're insane.
I know.
These deals are insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We're good?
We're good.
So, have a very Merry Christmas.
Wait. One more. Les.
Claypool? I had no idea he was a fan.
There you go, Les.
He's a great bass.
Hook you up.
Les Delancey.
Claypool.
Okay.
All right.
Are you good?
I'm good.
Are you good, Santa's little helper today?
I'm Santa's little helper.
So what do they have to do?
They
have to email you.
Nicole@thewoodwhisperer.
Nicole@thewoodwhisperer.com is the email.
Yep.
Send her your information. What'll happen is we'll make an account. We will assign a password.
If you don't already have an account.
Yeah, if you don't already have one,
We'll
we'll assign a password. Make sure you get your stuff. Then you can go in and change your password if you need to.
Yep.
If you guys want to know a little bit more about Guild Plus, go to thewoodwhispererguild.com/plus, and that will give you all the details on all the cool stuff that we do
Right now, the green blanket chest is streaming until
Ready
the
to
end
go?
of the month. And then on January 1st, I listed everything. There's even a newsletter sign up that you can ask more, what's going on with Guild Plus.
I like how ultimately I still wound up using the pen to
You
do the
did,
thing you
you
were
did.
going to do. So I win.
You did. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, everybody.
Blessing.
We may not see you guys before, well, not May. We won't see you before
yeah.
Christmas.
Nope.
So have a very Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Have a safe, healthy, happy one. And we hope you and your families are having a good season this year. Happy holidays.
I need a nap.
I need something to eat.
Yeah.
I had a homemade blueberry oatmeal this morning. Was delicious. People say that oatmeal sticks in your stomach and it fuels you for a long time. Not me. Every time I eat oatmeal, I am hungry, starving.
Can I just say that your mom, you get it from your mom, because when you say goodbye to your mom and then she continues to talk, you do it too.
No, that's the Missouri goodbye. I just don't want to say goodbye to these people.
Missouri goodbye.
On the phone, when I say goodbye, it's time to hang up, Mom. Goodbye is not the invitation to continue the conversation.
I'm sorry if I didn't pick you. I mean, I literally was just scrolling down, so
did it
we'll
on
have
purpose.
more opportunities.
She
Or
doesn't-
you could just sign up. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. You could try it for a month. If you don't like it, don't let it continue, but you
get two.
will like it.
If you sign up today, you get to watch 2 projects.
Yeah, because it's the first of the month that the project flips over to
That's
the next
true.
one. All right, you
Just
guys,
saying.
Merry Christmas. Thank you
Thank
for watching.
you for hanging out with us.
Goodbye.
Bye.